we have
Chief Financial Officer.
Chief Financial.
Chief Financial Officer is the next one. Tim?
The monthly revenue during the month of May was $446,757. About 40% of that came from real estate taxes. So we're still receiving real estate tax money that we should have received in March. Our operating funds for the first 11 months, $21,793,000. We're at 100% of our budget. The state has $120,000 in special education reimbursements scheduled for payment for us in the month of June. Whether we'll receive that or not is a question. The operating expenditures for the month, $1,884,000, and most of the expenditures were pretty much in line with where they normally are. Our operating expenditures for the first 11 months were 75% of budget. If you just look at everything without the working cash, which is where we had money budgeted to transfer into capital projects, we're at 93% of budget, which is, and we're pretty 92% of the way through the fiscal year. So we're pretty much right where we need to be. And our operating fund balance at the end of May was $19,301,000. I also noted in my report that we received a proposal from Oz Engineering. They're going to do all of the construction material and testing, monitoring services during the construction project. Their proposal was for $37,000. I highlighted some of the items that they're going to be monitoring and testing, and their proposal went to DLA first for review, and DLA approved it, or said that it was an appropriate proposal. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was Go Solutions. We had a contract with them for this past year to recoup some special education expenditures from the federal government. We brought in about $12,000 or $13,000 on that, and that's net of the fees that we pay them. So I'd like to just have that contract continue over into next year.
Is that up for a vote tonight?
It's part of our annual budget. I don't know.
Yeah,
I told Tim to include it because the board approved the first contract. And I don't know if we want to be to re-vote on it every year annually. No terms have changed in regards to the contract.
So can I ask two questions? First one is, since we're talking about Go Solutions, so what did they do for us that we couldn't do or we can't replicate doing?
Well, they know how to file all the paperwork with the federal government on these reimbursements for the different services that we get, whether it's audiology, whether it's psychological, that type of thing. It's fairly complicated. I mean, I don't know how to do that. Most companies, most districts use an outside company to handle that.
Okay. And then the second question is Oz Engineering. Did we have that in our overall budget, capital budget, to have a testing service come through, or is this up and beyond, it's going to hit the contingency?
This is money that we're putting into the budget for next year. I mean, this past year, our budget really didn't.
So it is not in our current capital projects budget of the amount we have that we approved?
No, but the capital budget that we approved for this year, we really.
No, for the
approved it
overall project.
For the overall project, I mean, we really didn't have numbers, you know, that were, I mean, we were talking about preliminary numbers, so no, we didn't have it included in this year.
That would eat into some of the contingency. I think it's a good plan though, because to make sure that we're getting the right stone, the right cement, the right concrete. That's some of those items that we're dealing with now.
Right, so if the board, a board comes across 7 years from now and they're doing some rehab on our project and they find that they would go after Oz Engineering?
That is correct.
Do we have some background information on how big of an organization this is and how strong of an organization this is? That they have the wherewithal, that they're going to be around to?
I can get that background information.
I'm asking you if you guys have done that.
Yes.
I don't want to see it.
They have 3 offices, one in southern Illinois, one in central Illinois, and they're in a couple states.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Tim?